Hey, I'm not in the picture.
Over
some. There we go.
Are you not in the picture?
No, I am.
Hey guys, how you doing? We're trying to get the new studio set up, and my wife still hasn't locked the.
No, that's my fault. My fault.
You still
Dog
got
duty. Doug's got to do dog duty.
Thank God we're not recording this yet. But hey guys, how you doing? We're the Weather Soul Podcast live here on YouTube tonight. We're just getting everything ready to keep going, and we didn't have a pre-show tonight, but I'm sure we're going to do some extra content. And if you want some of that extra content, by all means, please go to Patreon, because I have a website on patreon.com/the Weather Soul Podcast, and you can go get extra content there. But there is a catch. And that would mean that this podcast that you're going to get on YouTube and the podcast that you get on iTunes and Stitcher and those things are always going to be free. The audio is always going to be free. And the video on YouTube is always going to be free. But the extra content, at the very least, and this is a great deal. I mean, we're up in our listenership now. And if you, for as little as $1, you can get some extra content. It goes, 15 minutes almost to an hour sometimes, depending on just what we're talking about.
It's kind of like Bill Maher's overtime.
Yeah, something like that. But,
if you send us questions, we'll answer them.
So today on the YouTube feed, you will not be hearing our intro. I do have an intro now, so me and Doug are just going to talk like it was just the beginning of the show, and that's how we're going to do it today. So I just want to welcome you guys to the Weather Soul Podcast. Say hi to Dougie.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, everyone. And here we go. All right, man. So what's going on today, man? What's happening? It's Thursday, dude.
We are on the air.
The Weather Soul Podcast, baby.
Yeah, it's Friday Eve, man.
Got a new little look in our studio and stuff like that. I moved some stuff around so it didn't look like I was in the middle of Stanford and Son, here, because sometimes you're looking at the closet and the closet's all open. It's got my sweatshirts in it and all my crap around here because we just had a gig last Saturday night. And I had this thing all tore down because all this stuff goes on tour with me.
Yeah. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to see you guys.
That's all right, man. I heard that you had a rough day in Connecticut.
Oh, it was a rough week.
Yeah. You got to Connecticut back real fast.
I did it on phone support, man.
I know.
That's why when I was doing technical support, my boss loved me so much. He had to have a guy living in Brazil to take care of the Brazilian distributors. And then he gave it to me. And I never went to Brazil, and they all had much better running machines.
It was funny how I was listening to what you were going through, a couple of days before you were telling me what you had to do. And I think we got that on the extra content in last week's show, which you can get at patreon.com. Hey, first of all, I want to thank all you guys that watched the YouTube video of the tragic day in Gilroy, and those of you who went to the website. There was more than 100 of you that went to the website and listened to the podcast. There was more than 300 of you that went to the YouTube site to go view the video, and I just it was my life through my mind at that time, and this is kind of what we're gonna get to here in this podcast. I mean, we've had a lot of podcasts now. This is number 31, and it's evolved. So I got a good motivational shot in the arm on Monday by my friends over at Lions for Liberty, and they were talking about podcasting. Some of the more successful podcasters were on having a three-way conversation about podcasting, and I'm a little baby. I only got 31 podcasts, so I've got a long way to go.
Talking about battle scars.
Talking about battle scars, man. But I want to thank you guys. Please share the podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, share it with your friends. We're on Google Play. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We just made radio.com. Radio.com picked us up this last week. You can get us on iHeartRadio. You can get us pretty much on any podcatcher that you can download. And if you have a podcatcher that you don't get it, let me know and I'll get us on that podcaster. And then we also have the where you can get podcasts, which is going to be at the weatheredsoulpodcast.libsyn.com. You can go get the updated podcast, which is going to post exactly an hour after this podcast is over. And then you can get the everything there. If you wanted to go to the Weathered Soul podcast page, I changed the name to the Weathered Soul podcast page, and you can get there at the Weathered Soul podcast. Just type that into your little Facebook search engine. It'll take you right to the page, and you can join, and then you can get in on the conversations and my personal post, because Dougie doesn't post there. One of these days I get him to op-ed something, and I'll he'll just have to type it on something. I'll just cut and paste it. So
you know me, I'm full of opinions.
So I'm full of assholes.
You only need one. All the rest are extra.
So back to this weekend. It was hot, man. It was hot, but it was the first gig that the Weathered Souls, the band, had in a long time, for since I think April or something like that. Because we only do a couple of gigs a year. We're kind of just nutting around with it. It's more of a hobby than a profession.
Hey, Abby sent me a video. It looked like everybody was having a good time. Especially the kids. I mean, it's a family place, and
it was
kids came out and were boogieing.
It was absolutely fun.
You guys sounded all right too.
I love those kids out there freaking dancing away and doing calisthenics. And we had one kid almost crash into the stage with his bike. It was quite interesting out there. But hey, we're doing another gig. We have a gig coming up on Thursday, August 20th at Little Lou's Barbecue in Campbell. I've been the Weathered Souls have been invited over there to do about a 45-minute set during their American Songwriter Series. And the Weathered Souls are looking forward to being there. We got a lot of original stuff that we play. We do a lot of copy, but I mean, I wrote quite a bit of tunes, and Eddie's got a couple, and so does Tom. And so if you got nothing to do on Tuesday, August 20th, come on out to Little Lou's Barbecue in Campbell, and you can see the Weathered Souls for yourself, and maybe even tug Dougie over there. I don't know. We'll see. Dougie will buy you a beer.
Yeah.
On First Note Productions tab
with one paid admission.
And those patron memberships are going fast. We only have 3,000 million left, so they're going fast. We had about 5,000 million, a couple weeks ago, and now we're down to 3,000 million. And yeah. That's
right. All the good ones are already gone.
And a big update on the Night in the Garden for Alzheimer's. It brought in $408 for Alzheimer's. I sent it off the other day, finally, after just kind of sitting there looking at it for a long time, and had it in my safe. I'm going like, I need to really send this stuff in. So the Alzheimer's got $405. We got another $80 the other day from a listener. And
wow,
$485 now we have for the Night in the Garden for Alzheimer's. And so the next one coming up is going to be the end of summer night, or goodbye summer Night in the Garden with Michael Gaither. That's going to be on September 21st, and you can get those tickets right now at eventbrite.com and just look for Night in the Garden, and it'll come right up. It'll come up to the end of summer concert, and you can come see Michael Gaither. Tickets are only $20. So it's going to be a good show. And Jim Fowler, another songwriter, will be opening up for him. And man, we're just going to have a good time. It's
Michael Gaither is
a full
excellent.
summer. It's a full summer.
Yeah. You hear him on K-Pig. There's a little DJ gig once in a while.
Absolutely.
And he's a decent guy.
Yeah.
He plays great music.
Yeah.
It's well worth it.
Yeah. So and
it's for a good cause.
That's right. That's what's going on with my weekend. And this weekend, we're just going to get together and have a little barbecue and kick back around the fire pit. And
try not to burn our weenies.
I don't know. Maybe bring some of that rum punch.
Absolutely.
That was really, really good, dude. That was such a fun Sunday.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get loaded on that stuff too, because you don't taste the alcohol.
You don't know what's going on. Yeah, you have no idea.
Just tastes like high C or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's going on with Dougie, man?
Same old. Trying to get things going. Trying to round up a couple of jobs.
Cool.
Yeah, doing some estimates, and Saturday I think I'm actually going to get back in the field. I don't know how much work I'm going to do, but I'm going to at least go supervise a small job and try to get back on my feet.
There you go.
Physical therapy is going well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Pack's going good.
Yeah. It's not perfect.
Did you break the seal so you got the hinge going now, or what?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I wish.
That's the one I would always.
Yeah.
That's the one I would always be,
Yeah.
looking for.
Well, my last set of X-rays came back with good results. No hypermobility, and it looks like the bones are starting to grow together.
Well, that's very cool, dude. Very cool. So we got a couple more things going on around Gilroy this weekend. As a matter of fact, the Gilroy Rodeo, the second annual Gilroy Rodeo, 2019 is going to be going on. I think they start Friday at 8:00 in the morning and they end at Sunday around 7 or something like that. So this is another big event that Gilroy has brought back to us. I've personally never been there. I'm going to try to go in the early afternoon and make it back because I got WWE on Sunday, which is SummerSlam. You going to come over for that?
Oh, I don't know.
Most people don't. I can't even get my mother-in-law over here for family dinner if I've got WWE on. It's SummerSlam. If anybody knows anything about WWE,
don't tell her it's
there's
on.
two big shows. There's two big shows a year. There's WrestleMania and then there's SummerSlam. And SummerSlam is this weekend. And yeah, it's for. I know you should sit there and laugh.
Hey, who was it? Jon Stewart? No, not the Weekly Show guy.
The Weekly Show guy
on HBO.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't watch HBO.
Anyway, he used to be on. He used to be on the Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so he did something that was kind of interesting as far as all that stuff goes.
And
well,
elaborate. Now that we're on the subject. These are those odd radio times or podcast times when you're trying to get a line going.
You're trying to put your thoughts together while your mouth is running.
There you go.
Yeah. So he did an expose on the lives of those wrestlers.
Right.
Their lives suck.
Yeah, their lives suck.
Yeah, they don't get insurance.
As a matter of fact, on Vice, they have a show called The Wrestlers. And it's this guy that's going out because there's still a lot of regional wrestling going on. We've got big time wrestling that's up in Union City or Newark up there, and that's where they're based and everything. And I might even do a show with them here coming pretty soon. I'm trying to get a hall, available.
WWF used to be in Stamford, Connecticut.
Exactly.
And Abby actually did depositions for that Lance guy.
It was all started regional. So I mean, yeah. So, but you got your two. You got a couple of bigger outfits now, but still WWE is the number one.
Can you remember when we were kids, seeing that on black and white TV?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My
grandfather wanted me to get into that business.
My dad used to hang around with the wrestlers and stuff, so it was a pretty freaking cool situation. I got to meet a bunch of the older wrestlers, like Kenji Shibuya. I actually went to school with Kenji Shibuya's son, and I've met Stack Calhoun, Pepper Gomez. A lot of those guys I met back in my younger days.
It was a little more realistic then.
Yeah.
As opposed to
I don't know.
Theatrical now.
I don't know.
It was still theatrical, but they didn't have all the props. And I mean, every once in a while you see somebody pick up a chair and smash somebody in the head, but it wasn't like every show or every fight.
Yeah, that kind of all changed when everybody touts that it was Hulk Hogan that actually personified. Well, he was the one that actually got the big media boost, when it was happening. But one of the guys that were really a kind of a pioneer of all that and most charismatic, I think, was Ric Flair.
Yeah,
I mean, Ric Flair had it going on, man. I mean, and that was about the same time Hogan did, and then right. Once people started being outspoken like that and things like that, caught on, and then you had Hulk Hogan, he was hanging out in the New York area, right?
Sergeant Slaughter,
even though he was from California, he was hanging out in New York, with the New York crowd out there with the Slater brothers and a bunch of other guys. The Valiant brothers. Uh-huh. Those are the guys that I always associate him with, because they were kind of all in that. The Valiant brothers were coming out
in the same class,
and everything. So it was that blonde hair thing, with the big huge guy. And Ric Flair, he was a pretty big guy back in the day. And but
They're
you know,
all
he's the
big
one. He was
guys.
on the styling and profiling, man, and he knew how to talk it, and he knew how to walk it, and that's kind of what you have to do now is you have to do that. You have to have that kind of talk. You have to get there's more of a storyline now than there was way back in the day.
Right.
I mean,
right,
they had
yeah.
angles and storylines
Yeah.
back in the day, but it wasn't nothing like a storybook or a soap opera that it is now.
It's all merchandising,
And
man.
it's all merchandise.
You gotta
It's
have,
absolutely
gotta have a
merchandising.
persona so you
Oh,
can
dude,
sell the dolls.
They change shirts like every, your favorite guy who's going to be a face, the big guy that freaking is the nice guy, comes in and saves everybody, that guy, they, 6 months down the road, he turns heel. So now you got to buy another shirt, right?
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Or he gets beat up real bad or something like that. So he comes out with a new slogan. Everybody's got like 1 million shirts. It's freaking it's incredible. And
I rest my case.
And just a word out to the wise, if you ever go to a live event, because I love going live events, I won't be there at the San Francisco one, even though I'd like to, but I hate to go up to San Francisco. It's such a long trip. And there's no parking up there, so you got to take Caltrain, and then Caltrain's like 2 hours up, 2 hours back. It's an exhausting day, so I'd rather just go see an SAP. But when you go there, and you guys like we're saying, it's all about merchandising. Don't expect to go find a whole lot at a show. I mean, they've got booths and everything, and then there's just 1 million people there, but they got a very limited supply of what they brought what they're trying to push.
Right. Yeah,
and all the rest of the stuff you can go get at other places. But I'm really excited about it, man. It's one of my favorite shows of the year, and I get to see him.
You look forward to it. That's great.
I do.
And you bring the kids, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
Everybody's in there, and we're all having a good time. And Mom's grumbling because she hates wrestling. She thinks it's stupid. And it is stupid. I'll be the first one to admit it. It is stupid, but I love it. It's like, I love it, man.
Silly boys.
I think I've always wanted to be a pro wrestler. Yeah. That would have been fun. That would have been a fun thing to do. And a baseball, Major League Baseball player. That was the two ones I wanted to do. I'm just an engineer now, sitting at a desk all day and doing podcasts.
I always just wanted to build things.
Well, enough about us. Let's get into the meat of the show, man. So, as you know, there's been more mass shootings. We'll call them mass shootings in the area, and not in the area, but in the United States, and it brought up some raw feelings between everybody. I mean, everybody's kind of divided over what's going on. I mean, I have my opinions, and Dougie definitely has his opinions, and our opinions differ. But so does everybody else's out there. But I think the honest, and we'll get to the honest. I'll give you my honest opinion at the end of how I think everything is going to go in the end. But then again, we're gonna sit here and talk about it because.
Give us your honest opinion the whole time.
Well, okay. Well, you got to get that. You got to get that. You got to get that at the after show, where I really tell you what I think. No, but kind of my concrete or my conclusion to everything. I'll get you at the end because you'll hear everything that I have to spell out right now, and I don't know where that came from, but it must have been Dougie's phone or something.
I had my volume turned down.
Yeah, well,
it's a new phone. Sorry, it's like first day new shows.
I don't bring my phone with me.
Oh, Abby just wanted to let me know that was John Oliver that did the expose.
John Oliver. So there's somebody actually listening. Hello, Abby. How you doing? Everybody say hi to Abby.
Thank you, baby.
Say hi, Abby. I don't have Miss Marianne's a mirror that I can look through and see Abby's face. Anyway, so this is a strange and weird occurrence where we're stalling in the middle of the podcast to text Abby, and I'm supposed to be talking. I'm supposed to be talking and keep going. But anyway, back into this into the mass shooting. So we had a mass shooting in El Paso at a Walmart, and then we had another mass shooting up in Ohio, in Dayton, Ohio, where 9 people were. I think it was 9 people. It might even be more than that now. And then in El Paso, I think it was more than 20 deaths. Yeah, something like 20 deaths there. Gilroy seemed to drop off the face of the earth after those did, because we were not really a mass shooting. But one of the interesting things that did come out of the FBI stuff is that now they're looking at it as a domestic terror.
But by Tuesday, only the local news channels said anything about Gilroy. None of the national news channels were talking about Gilroy anymore, and it's kind of a shame, because it can all be tied together.
Yeah.
It can all be tied together, and go ahead. I know.
Well, I read the websites. I don't go to you. You watch a lot more national news than I do. I mean, you're my conduit, when it comes to that. Watching Fox or CNN or MSNBC, wherever you go. I read their web pages, and I saw the same thing. I mean, pretty much Fox dropped it, after a couple of days, and even though I saw every time I would pass by the police department, the trucks were still there for a long time. I think they just pulled out last week. Let me see. Yeah, probably Saturday, maybe Friday night, they pulled out of there after the last. I think the FBI did a news conference here, and then they were gone again. So they did come back for the FBI news conference. But like I said, they did it as domestic terrorism. And another one that didn't make the news is these, but it actually just started hitting about the time I got home today, was the knifing in
Southern California,
Orange County.
Yeah.
So it's a mass knifing, and so
well, the guy went ape shit.
Yeah.
And I saw a quick shot of it on the news. And it looked like it was a, it wasn't even a pointed knife. Right? So it looked more like it was a shaving razor type thing.
You can definitely, if you're running through a crowd, you can definitely
slashing,
mess up a lot of people real quick with a knife.
Now, I don't know anything about this knife, like I said, I just got a very quick look, but it didn't look like something you could get between ribs very easily or anything like that, but you could definitely cut an artery very easily.
Killed 4 people.
Yeah.
Bottom line, killed 4 people.
Yeah. Which goes to show you, even a shiv, like almost like a homemade or modified knife, can be just as deadly as anything else in the wrong hands.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm going to pull up something that yeah, you just keep talking.
Yeah. No problem.
I'm going to pull up this article that I know of, and I should have picked it up here. Okay, so Cuomo signed a law into law. It says right here, and this is on the this is New York Post, but New York Post has some credible articles sometimes. But Governor Andrew Cuomo signed into law Tuesday a bill banning the manufacture and possession of knives that fail to set off metal detectors.
So no more ceramic or plastic knives.
Exactly, undetectable knives.
Yeah.
And So
if you're going to make that for like cutlery, right? So you want to use that for like a commercial purpose, you'll have to put like a metal strip or something in
it. Here's his quote. He says, "Undetectable knives are meant to be used by trained members of our police and military forces for covert operations, not regular civilians attempting to sneak weapons past metal detectors."
I agree. that statement is true.
It is true. It is. No, it's not true.
It may not be all of the truth, but
no, it's not true. It's not true, because I can go to Bed Bath & Beyond and go pick up a set of ceramic knives that are pure ceramic, and they'll pass through anything, and I can kill you with
not their handles. I'll bet you.
Is that right?
I'll bet you they got metal.
I've seen ceramic I've seen plastic knives.
We have a plastic knives. We have a plastic knife for cutting lettuce or something. It makes it,
does it have metal on it?
No metal anywhere, but you could not get that through a rib. There's no way it would.
But you could get it through your neck.
Yeah, you probably could.
Probably get it through your neck. Yeah, anything. You can use anything.
Get in your eye. Yeah, you could use a pencil.
But here's the fact of the matter that I'm going to try to get at, because we're going to get into this, not argument, but we're going to get into this debate about AR-15s semi-automatic weapons versus just what happened with the knives and knife. Even the UK is trying to start doing these restrictions on knives and carrying knives because of course they've got very, very strict gun laws over there, and they
so all of their mass killings are by knives.
And all their mass killings are by knives. So but it's no joking matter. I mean, four people died in Orange County today, from that one guy. I mean, so he made a lot of damage in just a short distance that he got to, and there was another 2 people that were injured. So that was 6 people he got. And if he was in, I have no idea what the situation was, or if he was in a crowded mall or whatever. I'm sure if it was in a mall or something. I saw a
picture of a 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking about a 7-Eleven. And so if this guy's just running through a concert or a mall or something like that, I mean, he could have got a lot of people. So when you're talking about weapons, and the point that I want to try to get at before we start is that I don't think that even if guns didn't exist, that you would not have mass killings by freaking people that just have an agenda to go do it, whether it be political, religious, crazy, snapped, drug-induced, depression-induced. I just don't think it's going to curb that. Anybody is going to create their own chaos among people, or terrorism among people, if they want to, with any type of object that they can. And that's been proven because since Britain has outlawed pretty much all the guns and stuff like that, now you're getting knife murders. And once they start regulating knives, where are they going to go to? Well, they're using cars. So a car can take out a lot of people. I'm surprised though. Most of these people, most of these car attacks, that the death toll isn't higher. Because the couple of car attacks that I remember, there was one in Paris, the van. I don't remember how many people died in that one.
Right, yeah, that was a bad one.
And then there was the one in Charlottesville, with the crazy fucking whoever he was, and yeah.
Well, he had a Dodge.
The girl.
So.
He had a Dodge. Well. But I mean, there's been a bunch of these, and it's surprising that more people aren't killed that way, because I think the highest death toll is the one in France. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, well, in France they were like a free for all, but in Charlottesville they didn't have to break down go through a barrier, like there's some sort of restriction.
So the one question that I would have to ask you, because I know what the debate's going to turn into, is the type of firearms that are available for civilians to buy. And I understand your concern about the AR-15s, and I understand about the ability to be able to shoot 30 freaking rounds or 100 rounds in 3 seconds or something like that. I can understand that. But what I can't understand is the amount of bullets or rounds that you could put into a gun, what you wouldn't call an assault rifle. So you got your single engine bolts that you have to load every time. And I think most rifles load 3 or 5 at a time. Self-contained.
Yeah, bolt action.
Self-contained.
Bolt action would be one shot at a time. You shoot one, take another one out of your pocket, put it in, shoot another.
Right.
And then you've got semi-automatic. Right, you've also got your old Winchesters, right?
But they've got
the crank.
But they've got some semi-automatics that are self-contained, that you don't need a magazine. You can put a magazine with it, but it has a well.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, even 22s. I mean, like the tricycle of rifles, right. Ruger 1022.
Right.
It's a 22 that holds 10 bullets in a little tiny magazine.
Right. What makes that any less deadlier than an AR-15?
Killing power?
I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, you should try shooting one in the.
Well, they're still 22 caliber. They're 22 caliber. Both are 22 caliber freaking guns for the most part.
For the most part,
yeah. It's just the power of the bullet and the load behind it,
and the weight of the bullet.
You can argue the weight of the bullet.
The AR-15 bullet weighs almost 4 times as much as a 22 long rifle.
Oh, you can argue
and the cartridge. Okay, one of them holds like 5 grains of powder, and the other one holds 150. It's a big difference. the bullet of the 223
Mhm.
is the size of the entire 22 long rifle cartridge and bullet.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
All right,
I
big
can understand,
difference.
and I can understand
Yeah,
that. And you
and the
told me
reason,
about the
and
tumbling. You
yeah,
told me
it's
about the
flat
tumbling and
ended,
everything.
and
And
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
one of the things that is most disturbing to me is that a lot of those rifles that they have are just, when they get into the hands of somebody like a shooter, like what happened here at Gilroy, it's like 9 times out of 10, if you're aiming at something, you're going to miss it, because the
That's why they want assault rifles,
yeah.
so they can just without even having to look. They just wherever it hits. Who cares?
Yeah. So that's the indiscriminate. That's the indiscriminate mass killer. So what I'm asking, I guess the question I want to ask you is, what law, what regulation, what anything can we do that's going to make that never happen again?
Nothing.
There's nothing. Okay.
Nothing. We have to learn to live with it.
Okay. So how are you going to learn to live with it?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It might take generations.
And do you think that that further restrictions on guns are warranted?
You know, I future restrictions, okay, but trying to undo the past is never going to work. How's that sound?
I think the biggest thing that they want to do is they keep talking about background checks, and all I hear is that
there is a background checks already, and licensing is all good.
Well,
it's all good, and I don't want to hear this crap about it's the first step to taking it away.
No,
your car is licensed, your motorcycle is licensed.
I agree.
There's places where bicycles are licensed for your boat, your jet ski.
I agree.
Everything is licensed. There's a reason, because it has to have liability applied to it.
I agree,
and that's the problem.
I agree.
You have all these guns out here, and they've got a serial number on them, big deal, so you can find out where they were made and possibly the first person that bought it. And that's it.
Okay.
It needs to be licensed, and then if for some reason that gun ends up somewhere it shouldn't be, the person who has the license is responsible for it. There's liability, somebody you can sue.
Yep.
Okay, and that's what needs to be done.
Yep.
And people will start taking them seriously.
So you don't think that the manufacturer of guns or somebody who sells guns is liable for what happens outside with the gun?
They're selling a legal product. You can't hold them liable. Too bad. I'm sorry. If they were selling something that was illegal, like if there was a federal law that said no, you can't sell AR-15s, and they were selling them to gun shops, and gun shops are selling them to citizens, they're all breaking the law. But we don't have that, so it's too late.
Yep. So yeah, we were talking last week about putting the genie back in the bottle, and I just don't think that you can put the genie back in the bottle. So
no way.
I agree.
Or if you tried to, it would take 2 or 3 generations.
Yeah. Well,
to get, like I said, okay, I got an AR-15. You say you want me to sell it. You're going to sell it back to you. You made a law telling me I have to come and sell this back to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I don't. And you come to my house and say, yo, where's your AR-15? I said, I went fishing with it and it fell out of the boat. What are you going to do? Have like ground penetrating radar and gun sniffing dogs and and every house in America? No, it's too not gonna work.
I heard another somebody say on one of the podcasts I listened to, it's just like, you want to start a civil war, start knocking on people's doors for getting their guns, and that's pretty much what's going to happen. I mean, I'm at the.
Well, then look at all the guns at once.
Well, you see,
does anybody think that they're going to go out there with their AR-15 against the army?
There will be some.
Got shit for brains.
There will be some, but I don't think it'll take the army to come out and tell everybody to get.
No, I'm just saying, guns. If it gets down to it.
Because, if it gets down to it, I mean, that's nothing that we condone here on the Weather Soul podcast. Believe me.
No, just speaking the truth.
We are peace
reality.
Lovers here. So a lot of people on the libertarian side watch this podcast. In fact, I post a couple libertarian websites, and they are appalled at me right now, because I do agree with you that we should have some types of background checks and licensing and registration for. I mean, it should be just like a car.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unfortunately, when I say that, it's just like people are going like, "Well, you're supposed to be anti-government." No, I said no. I'm not anti-government. I'm for small government, and I'm for small and I'm for workable government. We want a government that works for us, not us working for them.
Right.
So the services that we need, we want, the majority of them want it. And I know the majority of all gun owners are going like, sure, I don't have a problem. I mean, I don't have a problem licensing my gun. I don't have a problem registering my guns. I don't have a problem taking a class. If they, if they're updated class, you need to go take this class, whatever. If it means keeping my liberty of having a gun to be able to protect myself when I need to, because I don't hunt, and that's all they're here for. And believe me, like I said last week, it took me a long time to get to them. So I got a bat first. You have to get through the bat, then you're going to get my gun. But
yeah. That's the other thing too. Having a gun, say, "Oh, I got a gun for safety in my house." Well, if you've got an AR-15 to protect yourself in your house, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
because number
like
one,
I said, it's the pump action.
Yeah,
pistol
the pump
grip,
engine with
sawed-off shotgun is
with the
your
buckshot.
Best bet
with the buckshot.
Best bet if you're going to use a gun.
Yeah.
But
because you're going to shoot.
Even then, chances are,
because if he's coming down the hallway, you're going to get him, and then you're going to tear both your walls out.
Yeah,
at the same time,
and anybody who's behind those
walls. So, but that's the way to do it. So, I was interested. A lot of talk has been said about mass shootings are becoming this great big problem in the U.S. and in the world. But there is some data out there, and there's some facts and data, and a lot of people don't like the facts and data. But I got to tell you, I'm surprised, and because the media is lying to you. They got a narrative going on, and I think it's atrocious that the media treats. They only care about guns after the mass shooting. And that's all the politicians care about, guns, until it's after the mass shooting. And now they're using it for political fodder for their candidacy. And there's all kinds of rhetoric going all over the place about the mass shootings. And there's the Crime Prevention Research Center, which is, I got this out of the CDC. Hold on, I'll tell you which one I got it out of. I got it out of fee.org. And they came up with a webpage which they call the Crime Prevention Research Center that says new CPRC research, how a bot study fooled the world about the U.S. share of mass public shootings, and the U.S. rate is lower than the global average. Now, here's how they did it. What they did was they said, okay, we're going to do mass shootings. We're going to count them at per capita per 100,000 people. So what it ended up and I'll go through a couple of countries here because I can scroll in and out of this. This is a cool website. I love this website, or I love the way that they got it going on. But anyway, so in Russia, victims killed. And this has been since 1998 to 2015. And 2015, per 100,000 people, they were at 0.17. The victims killed, 242 victims killed in that era, or that time frame. Where Canada was at 0.1, where only 4 people were killed. So that's a real safe place to be if you don't want to be shot up. And then you've got Norway, which are victims killed per capita, 1.46. So they're really high up there, 1.46. That's 67 out of, so that's 1.46 out of 100,000 people. You've got Algeria, which is 925 people that have been killed in mass shootings, and that's 2.82 per 100,000. So you got India, which is 0.21. And then down here in the Americas, you've got Colombia, which is 1.77. You've got Brazil at 0.2, which is pretty safe there. You got Argentina, which is 0.1, very safe down there. You got Peru at 0.15. And then you got the United States. So and I want to get the updated numbers on this, but since 1998 to 2015, 394 victims. That was only 0.13 people out of 100,000 people. So that's one of the one graphs that they have here that they were looking at. And another thing that I got here also is murders by firearm in the different states. And in California, out of 100,000 people, you got their death ranking is 7.9. So in California, we have 7.9. And the stats are in 2017, because that's all they have going back. And this is the CDC. Nope, that's the leading cause of death in California was heart disease.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The leading cause of death by handguns is suicide.
The leading, yep, exactly.
Or by firearms.
By firearms. So here's firearm death.
Too.
So here's firearm death. So here we go. Firearm death. Oh, got it. God dang it! I'm in the wrong spot. Keep going.
Okay. As far as like the United States in general spends on fixing things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On average, you're talking things like airline safety, highway safety, automobile safety, child safety, yada yada yada, gun safety, boom boom boom, falls, diseases, everything else. It's averaged about $1,200 per citizen. Right. The lowest one is research on protecting people from falls, and that's like $5 a person.
Right.
Guns are at about $68 a person.
Mm.
Alzheimer's is at like $120,000 a person.
Wow. That's astounding. So firearm deaths in California in 2017, 3,184. The U.S. deaths from firearms is 39,773. So the U.S. rate, our rate in California is a little bit over half, is 7.9, and the U.S. rate was 12. Homicides in California were 2,022. The U.S. deaths from homicide are 19,501 or 511, and drug deaths actually topped the list at 4,800. Just under 5,000, and there were 70,000 deaths for drug overdosing. And
who's the majority victim of gun deaths?
The majority victim of gun are women. No.
Guys over 50 with health problems.
Guys over 50 with health problems.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of makes sense. I mean, but I still wouldn't off myself. I don't think so, unless I was in big pain or something.
I've seen it happen though.
Maybe if I was in big pain. But it's amazing some of the numbers that I came across and that I heard about, and then some of the rhetoric. And I really don't. I hate to call it rhetoric because it's really not rhetoric. It's a serious subject. And I don't want to discount the seriousness of people out there that just feel free to go ahead and just shoot up a place because they're not feeling good about Trump, or they're not feeling good about life, or they're not feeling good about anything in general.
Yeah, if they're not feeling good about gun laws.
Yeah, or they're not feeling good about gun laws or whatever. So I mean, the situation is Jason Staple will say it's not out of control, because it's really not out of control. It is just more frequent because we hear it every day on the news. We got a 24-hour news cycle that is hunting for this stuff, and it's alarming because we do hear it every day, and mass shootings.
Because the frequency has gone up.
I don't know if the frequency has gone up at all.
The frequency has gone up.
I would argue with you that it hasn't gone up. But
really,
I'll do some research this next week. On that.
We'll charts on that. I'll email it to you.
Why don't you just go? You didn't bring them?
No, I didn't have a chance to. I didn't.
Dougie wasn't.
The magazine came today. I didn't have a chance to research it.
Got it. Okay, cool. But there's something that we have to do. We have to do as a society. And, I hate, like I said, if it means keeping my liberty and my freedom to have a firearm to do whatever I want to do with, then I'm all for at least licensing, registering, and doing background checks. As far as these red flag laws and all this other stuff, I mean, you got to be, you're pushing the envelope there, I think. I mean, it's one thing that the woman, the mother of the guy that shot up El Paso, called the cops and was worried about the gun that her son had. and I don't know any of the particulars of it.
They didn't
whether he
even
said
take her
something
name.
yeah,
Sorry.
from what I
They
hear.
didn't even take her name.
Yeah, tell me about it, because you read up about it. Tell me a little bit what's going on with that, because
Well, no. She called up and said, her son just bought one of these assault rifle things, and she's not cool with it, and she doesn't think that it's safe for him to have it, because there's no reason for him to have it except to go do something bad with.
Yeah,
they're like, thank you, bye.
Yeah, just like you were shooting up whatever you were shooting up in the desert, right? So yeah exactly. Yeah. So
but the other part of that too is, let's say that everything went according to the way the red flag lip service is supposed to go. Okay, my son just bought an AR-15. He bought a 100-round barrel clip for it, and he's writing names down, people he wants to kill. Let's do something about it. Okay, fine, no problem. Give me your name, address, blah 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 blah. Okay, let's go see the judge. Okay, the judge. Okay, let's investigate it. All right, 30 days later, the kid finds out, hey, we're kind of worried about you having that gun, so we want to do some tests on you. And then 60 days later, they're like, yeah, you really shouldn't have that gun. Give it to us.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm cool.
So it's going to be like 3 months. No, I'm saying it's lip service, man. It's bullshit. That's not going to stop a effing thing.
No, I don't think if you went out there immediately, it would stop a fucking thing. To tell you the truth.
No. What will happen is once that goes into effect, then people will have, no wait.
Yeah.
And then if you have a waiting period, okay, you want to buy the gun, then all right, you pay for it now, and you come pick it up 2 weeks later after we make sure everything is cool. Well, everything is cool until you get it, and then your parents find out that that you're carving people's initials in your wrist.
Right. Well, I hate to see the transfer of firearms be like buying a house or buying a car, but it looks like it's gonna have to go that way. I mean, that old time when your grandpa used to hand down the rifle to his deer rifle.
Let's look at what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, a car is a machine that can be very dangerous if it's not controlled properly.
Correct.
All right. A gun is a machine that can be very dangerous if it's not handled properly.
Mm-hmm.
An airplane is a machine that can be very dangerous if it's not handled properly. Okay. But the only thing that we got, for machines that can be handled improperly and dangerous are like lawnmowers and stuff. But you really can't take down a crowd with a lawnmower.
You can take them down with a machete.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's a much more personal thing, and it's a whole different state of mind. Think about it.
I'll tell you what.
So
go ahead.
What's wrong with registering guns? There's nothing wrong with registering guns. The only reason why people don't want their guns registered is because they're ashamed of having their guns.
Yep.
If they were proud of it, they'd be, yeah, I got it. Look at it, man. It's a beauty. Made in Hartford, Connecticut. What? Something wrong with it? You got to hide it? Oh, no, I don't want you to know I have this gun. If you know I have this gun, then you know I have this gun. Oh, no. What?
Well, here's something that just came in from the Morgan Hill Times about 5 hours ago.
Oh,
we're just going to. Many residents and businesses in Morgan Hill have experienced a spotty or non-existent cellular and Wi-Fi service after a construction crew accidentally destroyed a high bandwidth fiber optic line this morning of August 8th. According to authorities, residents need emergency police, fire, medical services still be able to call 911 on their cellular phones, according to the MHPD, Sergeant Bill Norman. If the emergency calls fail, Cal Fire Battalion Chief Jim Crawford urged those in need of fire or police to call from a landline. That's a joke.
Abby's business was dead. She couldn't work today.
If that fails and there's no landline nearby, residents can visit the nearest fire or police station to report an emergency. So how weird. I didn't even hear about this, but it was a terrible morning in San Jose.
Yeah, they took
a terrible morning this morning.
They took out the whole fiber cable, and like unbelievable.
Did you hear?
And then it's taking them all day to repair it.
Yeah. Did you hear about that accident down in Parkway Lake this morning? 4-car accident. All four of them burning.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And the report is, I don't know. There's nothing nefarious about this. One guy screwed up, and everybody ended up with a car on fire. But they said it was very weird that even a car catches on fire, because you see it in the movies, and that's all movie stuff. But it says it's very, very rare
nowadays
that a car catches on fire,
especially after the Pinto.
Right? Yeah, exactly. The car catches on fire after an accident or any time. We had an accident that killed 2 people, killed 1 person, injured 2 people, 4-car accident, and every car caught on fire. Unbelievable. So I'm thinking the fuel off of one got on everybody else and fire.
You want to hear something ironic?
Yeah.
When I lived in Phoenix, I saw a Pinto rear end a Cadillac, and the Cadillac was on fire.
Oh my gosh. And then this morning on Monterey Road off of Las Animillas Road, my sister was a witness to a truck that flipped in the middle of the road and took out one of the power poles, and there were power lines in the middle of the road. So Gilroy was without power for a while this morning also. And you guys got to be careful out there, man.
Yeah, I mean, why? When you find yourself in that state of mind where it's like, I don't give a shit. There's 150 feet. I'm going to try passing these 5 cars.
Yeah.
Sit back and say, is it worth dying on your way to work?
Exactly.
Is it worth dying to make your boss money?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't fucking bother.
Yeah, don't bother.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Be safe out there, guys. Be safe. And yeah, just a whole bunch of things. That's a good talk about guns, man. Good talk about guns.
Yeah,
I think
guns are here. They're here to stay. We got to learn to deal with it.
And I think I think that the bottom line is really, and my conclusion to everything is that no matter what we do, this is going to happen. And no matter if it's more frequent or less frequent, it's going to be just as horrifying when it does happen.
Well, one thing that works too is always, social opinion. There could be a time that comes where there's a type of shaming where, oh, you've got an AR-15, you must think your dick is small or something like that.
Well,
I mean, things like that have happened.
I'll tell you what, it's kind of the way that I feel about a lot of things that I see.
This is true,
and I'll be honest,
especially conspicuous consumption, but that's the whole different. That's a whole month's worth of talks.
That's too much, man. That's way too much. So, oh man, so I'm done, man.
Really?
I think I'm done.
Let me look at my list. Let me look at my
list.
Let's see
your list. We can cut this little part out. That little. I did that little.
Oh yeah. We're still. I'm still a little hung up on the PG&E threatening to turn off entire regions' powers because the wind's blowing and they don't want to get sued for a fire.
Yeah.
I still think there's a little bit something wrong there. It may be their best option.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and all everything taken into consideration, that might be their best option.
Yeah.
But I think there's got to be a better way. It's got to more localized, whatever. Not having to turn off entire transmission lines, put in more switches or whatever they have to, so they can localize the areas that they're turning the power off to.
For the amount of money that they suck out of the PUC.
Right.
Yeah, because they get their way every time they go, every single time, like they own the PUC.
Another thing that's supposed to work for us.
The same thing, yeah, exactly. And the water companies get what they want, and the garbage companies get what they want. These companies always get what they want, and our service seems to, I don't want to say it's going to go down, but we always come up with these situations where we have found neglect on their side. And it's because you have this monopoly of one contractor that's supplying all your power and no competition.
Right. So they don't have to be on their
toes.
So
they don't have to be on their toes. And that's bullshit. And I mean, that is bullshit. And
I agree.
And, those poles are up there and they can be used by anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's where we were talking about the other night is like, these lines, yeah, okay, you put them up, but you only own them for X. And then
you've made your money back on them.
Yeah, you need to share the line. It's in some capacity. You need to lease the line to other people and stuff like that, so they can put their own power through there, so you can have a little competition. And you don't have to. I'm not saying that price should be regulated, but I'm also saying that it should be open to other people, even though somebody else made the investment. Everybody made investments in this economy. To better yourself and be able to have me even start this company of First Note Productions and be able to do this podcast. People made stuff. I mean,
and PG&E is basically saying, if you're worried about your power going out,
pay us more.
No, spend $12,000 to put a UPS in your house.
Yeah, ransom.
Yeah,
it's ransom.
Yeah, it's ransom.
It's ransom.
Yeah, $12,000 put a UPS in your house, or don't ever sue us if we burn you down.
And then I still have to have their line hooked up to my house.
Yeah, or you don't have a house.
That's you.
Or you don't have a legal house.
That's I knew you weren't arguing with me about it, but you were being pretty snide.
Well, hey, I'm sorry. You want to live here, that's what you get. You don't want to have the wire, then, go buy yourself an acre out in the middle of the redwoods somewhere. We'll put solar panels, a couple of batteries, a backup generator. You'll be all set.
I just want to be left alone, man. Well, sometimes you just want to be left alone, right?
Find that perfect cave in Montana.
I want the people that love me to come over and so I can love on them, and you can, they can love on me. And then, but other than that, I want everybody else to leave me alone, man. Let my government leave me alone. Let everybody leave me alone.
And I guess my answer to that is, I'm sorry, brother, but sometimes it's just your turn in the barrel. We all got to do it.
Well, my time in the barrel is running thin, so we're gonna get back onto the saddle again and start enjoying life and yeah, man. It's just I think we'll talk about it on the other side.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right on.
All right, man. Say goodnight, Dougie.
Good night, Dougie.
Good night, guys.
Happy Thursday.
Thank you for being here at the Weathered Soul Podcast. And for best results, squeeze from the bottom up.
Always.
A little break right here.
That was a lot of talking.
We did about 53 minutes.
And there's something too, there are so many good gun owners. You take the percentage, even if you took a wild guess.
99% of us.
Yeah, so say
99%.
20% of the people that own guns don't respect them religiously. You know what I mean? Like, I got my pistol over on the coffee table, whatever type of shit, right?
Yeah, that's
say maybe 20%. Even at that, okay, that's still a small. Of course, the news would say 1 out of 5 gun owners don't lock their guns up. We're in trouble. But actually, I think that's a pretty good statistic.
At least somebody's doing it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think most gun owners are responsible people.
And I think most gunners that have people in their house and kids and everything notice and educate their kids to be respectful around those things, because everything that I've ever experienced has been, this is a dangerous tool. You treat it with respect, and you got the Boy Scout freaking.
Yeah. Oh God, it was like military.
Right, exactly. All right, I gotta go use the head.
But every once in a while, you do hear about the 5-year-old kid shooting his 3-year-old sister with dad's gun by mistake.
Yep. Beer, water, whiskey.
Water would be fine.
We're out of water. Oh no! Hi guys, we're back for the extra content show, the after show, the afterglow. That's where me and Dougie get to do whatever we want. Oh, you know what? I should stop the video. Goodbye, video.